find there are not tables and chairs in here all the time, but she made this the most beautiful room, and Chef Dane, we want to thank them very much for catering. So of course, there she is, Carol Ann. Carol Ann wave. There's Carol Ann. So we're very fortunate today that we have David Clyde here, and Stephen, you're going to introduce him. And he is the Director of Economic Development at the City of Lynnwood. There's the man. And so I'm really interested to hear what you have to say. Very excited. I also want to thank we have a couple elected officials here today that I would like to thank and introduce. Mayor Smith is here. And Council Member Shannon Sessions is here. The Chamber appreciates your support very much. Thank you for coming. I don't know if it was for the food. You may have heard David speak before. I don't know. But anyhow, I want to thank you for coming. Again, for those of you who aren't aware, there has not been a Lynnwood Chamber for several years. Now there is. We're growing quickly. I will be staying after a little bit longer if you guys have questions. It's like, why did you do this, right? Where are you, Fawn? You were, oh my God, could you do like more right in front of me? Fawn, would you stand up? Fawn is with Anna's Furniture. It is his store, and he has done so much to help the Chamber, and is one of our 2 platinum members. And he was very instrumental in getting this meeting together today. And I want to say thank you for your involvement. Go Anna's Furniture. Our other platinum sponsor is Community Transit, and so I want to move to the left of that light. And so again, thank you to Community Transit for all they're doing as well. And at this point, Stephen, I'm going to ask you to take it away.
Thank you. So I went to this little show called Hamilton, and there was a nice little skit that was there that said, you want to be in the room where it happens. This is the room where it's going to start happening. Lynnwood is where it's starting to happen. David Kleitsch has been involved with this city through various and sundry areas, part of Rotary, and that's where I asked him to come and speak with us. He's been involved with Lynnwood for ages, I think like 4 mayors, so that's a long time. He's going to talk about the growth that's going on in the Lynnwood area. We've got a rezone that has gone on from the park and ride all the way over to the Alderwood Mall, and I'm looking forward to hearing how high we can go. David Kleitsch, please.
Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak, and as you get into this and you find it informative, let me know, and I'm always available to come out and meet with other groups, and particularly other businesses. If you want a one-on-one meeting and we can talk about things that you're interested in, we're available to do that. I also want to point out a couple of people in the room that are very critical to our success. Paul Krause here is the Community Development Director. Paul regulates, I facilitate. No, just Paul runs the permitting functions, the planning functions. He's also involved in social issues, particularly with homeless, and he's co-located with economic development in what is called Development and Business Services. That's our rebrand for the Permit Center. Also, Kevin's Weber back here. Please stand, Kevin. Kevin is with the, okay, wait for it, the South Snohomish County Fire and Rescue. They are the new regional fire authority. They were voted by the people in last year. Why that's important for this conversation is, one, we now have a fire service that is big enough for the needs of the community and is available to not only address current situations in the community that need fire and rescue support, but also our future. So we went from a 2-station department to, I think, a 14-station department or a 12-station department. So we are doing the things that we need to do to make Lynnwood ready for the future, and I'll talk about this as I go forward. And I just want to point out former council member Chris Boyer here, who was instrumental in that effort on the fire authority, and his leadership and council leadership, as well as Mayor Smith, has really set the stage and got us prepared to achieve the things you're going to see, because we are moving from a legacy community, which is our foundation. It is who we are today and who we were, into really a catalyst for the Puget Sound region, and a very important part of the Puget Sound growth and development, particularly north of Seattle, but also a region-wide. And that's kind of a notion that people need to get their arms around, because we are at a critical location in the geography of the region, and we are also part of the thread of the region. And that is a change. We're not just Snohomish County anymore. We're part of the 4 counties that comprise the greater Seattle metro area. We're also, well, I'll talk about this in more detail, but frankly, we are well positioned to benefit from the future that's coming if we work together to achieve results. So there's a clicker. That's Jen Lee. She's with Economic Development. She has been with us since October, so we'll give a shout out to Jen. And then my boss, Christy Murray. Where's Christy? Is there a Christy Murray? Thank you. Christy works in both tourism and economic development projects. I'll talk a little bit about tourism, but suffice to say that we are the hub of tourism in Snohomish County. So that's the title page. I want to talk a little bit about how the city can achieve our community vision. The city has a vision that the council approved. Now it's getting it done, and hopefully we can get it done together. This goes about 30 minutes if I don't talk too long, so I'll stop talking. Here we go. Here we go, baby. Is it plugged in and on? The buttons I know, it's turning it on is the problem. That's why I could really drive well if I could figure out where the key is. So here we go, a little bit about Lynnwood. We were incorporated in '59, we're about 8 square miles. We have a population of about 38,000. These numbers are a little out of date. We are a family-oriented community. There's a lot going on here where people that come here and drive through here don't know who we are. What we are is really a close-knit community. We embrace our past. We don't let others define us. There was a time where Almost Live defined Lynnwood. Well, we're almost beyond that. And we are into defining ourselves. We got 4,400 businesses, over 4,400 businesses. That ebbs and flows with what they call non-resident businesses. Those are contractors and stuff that come into the community, and other people that don't have a physical presence here but do business in the community. We are the regional center for business and commerce between Seattle and Everett, and I like to say to get to Everett you have to go through Lynnwood. So we are repositioned to take some of the economic activity that comes out of Seattle. And we are a regional transportation and transit hub that serves North Puget Sound. We'll talk about that in just a minute. City government, our vision is to be a regional model for accountable, vibrant community. Importantly, engage citizens in accountable government. That's your engagement as well as just folks that live here, and that engagement keeps us accountable. We take that seriously. That's where we're moving forward with not only our vision, but also translating that vision into budgeting and translating that vision into action. We'll talk a little bit about that. We have 10 departments. We used to have 11, but the fire authority jumped ship. We have 300 full-time employees. That's our operating budget, currently about 142 million. That's a 2-year budget. So it's not that high, it's about 70 million a year. We have city council, engaged residents, and most importantly for today, engaged businesses as well. And we have just approved a strategic plan for the next 5 years, which charts our course forward. If you need this information or want this information, we will get it to you. We are moving into our budget cycle this year, so stay engaged. The budget kickoff happens in May when we start preparing our budgets. Our budget focus is budgeting for outcomes. In other words, we want to translate expenditures into things that the community wants to achieve. We want to be able to measure that. We want to show what our accomplishments are so we can then come back in the next cycle and tweak, fine-tune, adjust, however. More of a business approach to how we do business, and your engagement in that is critical. I also wanted to talk about your engagement in something that we do, and I know this is an issue of ongoing interest and some concern, and that is permitting. So the city has embarked on, as I mentioned, the Development and Business Services Group, and we are moving. Matter of fact, if you want one of the first cards, we now have new business cards with our address, and don't tell me to say it because I don't know it quite yet, but we're over by the office buildings in the Embassy Suites. Business and Development Services is currently located in the core of the City Hall across from Goodwill on 198th. But over this weekend, we'll be moving our locations. You can access our website, learn a little bit about us. We have co-located fire, permit and inspection, building permit inspection, public works permit and inspection, planning and economic development in that facility. So we've gone to a one-stop shop. Paul implemented over-the-counter permits and also that one-stop shop approach. What we're now in the process of doing is basically culling how we do business, looking at our codes, how can we, tweak them and make them better for the business community. So stay engaged on that. There's more to come. We want to be more efficient. We want to be more transparent and more collaborative on how we do business and how we do permitting and inspection. We want to, fix what's broken and enhance what we're doing well. So that's just kind of an overview, a little sweetener. I want you to know that we take it seriously, and we will continue to advance. And the next year, you'll see things come out. For example, we did a online inspection appointments. Now everything's online. You don't have to go through, the phone call that never gets answered. That's one major improvement. Jen Lee was responsible in working with community development and our tech department on bringing that forward. We're doing online permitting. We're moving in that direction. We want to make our systems more clean and understandable. So these are where we're going. So we need your engagement on that and be involved on that. Now, every project's different. Every owner has different motivations. Every business has different motivations. We deal in a code world where, these are the requirements, But it's how we work and interact with our customers, how we make that a better experience, and how we convey the information in a way that they really understand that we're not out to get them. We are basically charged with making the community safe. So how can we meet the business objectives while we make that more efficient and better experience for the business that is our customer? Okay, I've gone over my word count. But I just want to say that it's urgent and we take it seriously and there'll be more to come. So moving forward, regional partnerships. I talked a little bit about the partnership with the Chamber, but you can see all these organizations here that we work with on a daily basis. I won't go into all the deep detail here, but we're a regional participant in these. I will call out a couple that have of significance. One, of course, the Lynnwood Chamber, I think was well stated that we suffered without having a chamber. We may know, or you may remember, when the Economic Alliance was created a few years ago, the local chamber connections kind of faded away. And through the perseverance of the business community and really a lot of stay after it, we are now getting to the point where we have a local chamber which can help us on those business-related items. It isn't you can go to one organization like the Alliance and achieve what you want to do locally. You need that local presence. So again, looking forward to working with Linda and the Chamber Board and Chamber membership to make that happen. Edmond School District. Edmond School District is important because I don't know if you're aware, but basically the entire schools in Lynnwood have been rebuilt over the last 5 to 10 years. Spruce Elementary, Lyndale Elementary, Lynnwood Elementary, Beverly Elementary, all of those things are either done or will happen. That is a community investment made by the residents of Lynnwood that voted those bonds. So we are going to have all new facilities. We're going to rotate that into a new school system. And with Superintendent Duffy here and a commitment to improving K-12 education, that is important for community building and important for Lynnwood. Edmonds Community College, same way. The set building is going to be built there. It's under construction this year. That is 70,000 square feet of science, technology, education, and math. The kids coming up, new ways of learning, how to figure that pathway out is important. That's happening in Lynnwood. I mean, Lynnwood as a community is a regional model. Some of the things here on public safety that I mentioned, we have been instrumental in going to a regional approach on things like emergency preparedness, the 911 merger that has just happened, the Regional Fire Authority, the Snohomish County Regional Drug Task Force. Public safety is our #1 expenditure, above all, and is very robust. We have a very quality police, fire, courts system. It is expensive. How do we do that more efficiently? And Lynnwood's been a regional model, and advancing that through our police departments and our fire departments to make that as efficient as possible. And some of the other things here, Sound Transit, I'll talk about that in a bit, but that's a major game changer for us on the regional perspective. And then Verdant Health Commission, which is the Houston Stevens, well, they're in Lynnwood, and they have the Veterans Hero Cafe, which is a program connecting veterans, but it's far beyond that. What they do with us on health, what they do with us on community activities that build that wellness. So, you know, we're not couch potatoes. We're working with all these people, all these organizations, all the folks that comprise these organizations to really be a regional model, not so we can put that on our letterhead, but to be a regional model to improve the quality of life of everybody that works, lives, and owns a business here. So, Lynnwood. I don't know if you can really see this well, but this is our current boundary of the city of Lynnwood. And I want to call out a couple of areas. This area here is the Regional Growth Center for the city of Lynnwood. That is a designation that says of the development that happens, it's going to be funneled into this area. By development, I mean new jobs, new residences. The reason for putting it over here is it's along the I-5 and 405 corridors and related to transit. And that's important because if the development happens over here by the freeway, we can protect these single-family neighborhoods. And that is a policy by the council that's decades long. We value our neighborhoods, we value, you know, those parks and schools and those types of areas. The growth goes along the freeways and also along Highway 99. Thank you very much. Good, much better. Public-private working together. Yeah. Municipal urban growth boundary, I did get a shout out that somebody wanted to learn a little bit about annexation. So this is the boundary that I had pointed out before of the city of Lynnwood. And this is very hard to see, but up to 148th, over to North Road, and then back around on Archway to 212. This is our annexation boundary. And I had a conversation today, a gentleman named George here, about prior efforts to annex. And those are still areas that the city is obligated to take on. We were close in about 2007 to do this annexation. Why would we want to annex? Most of these people have Lynnwood annex addresses and they think they live in Lynnwood. Governance is improved, zoning is improved, police department, public safety is improved. There's a bunch of mutual reasons why this annexation area makes total sense. It comes with a cost, so we have to absorb service needs for all these areas. So we are looking at how we can fit that into the next few years on how we can address the possibility of annexation. Quite honestly, most of these people think they live in Lynnwood. I mean, a lot of people that apply for boards and commissions that really want to be involved in the community and participate on either a planning commission or another type of commission will submit their application and they'll be told that we're sorry, you really are not in the community, which really is not a good way to welcome people. But we are kind of the creature of the post office and how they submit addresses, so that's why that happens. But I think in the long run, this is an area that we're going to annex. It would increase our population to about 85,000. It would also help our economic base. It would just have to be served. So how do we make that financial calculation work? So major projects. I'm going to first talk about the area of the Regional Growth Center and the City Center, which I mentioned. The City Center is here. This has been zoned for highest possible density in the city of Lynnwood. You can go up on office buildings in the core to about 340 feet. The math on that translates to like a 30-story building. Where are we in that economic cycle? Well, I don't think we're at 30-story buildings, but I think you're going to see density. And then this area is also served by transit. So this is the highest density core area, but this whole area up to Costco and down to the transit center is envisioned to take on jobs and housing that I mentioned. So what are we currently doing? 196th Street improvement. This is from 36th over to 48th. So this is the boundary of this project. This is at one level a widening project. You can see down here in the graphic. 196 will be increased by 2 lanes, and they will be business access lanes, and they will also serve bus rapid transit. We will then accommodate pedestrians by having wider sidewalks with landscaped areas here. If you go down to the convention center, the new apartment building, you kind of see the early stages of this project. But importantly, we'll also have a landscape median. But importantly here, this starts next year, and it's going to be a significant project. We have already contacted most, if not all, of the property owners. There's really no displacement that occurs from this, but there will be inconvenience. The responsibility is on us to keep people informed, provide regular updates. But this was funded through Choose Washington, so this is a funded project, and we are in final design and we'll be going out to bid later part of this year. This is the Poplar Way Extension Bridge, so on the graphic here, this bridge, this is a lot of stuff here. The bridge itself is at Poplar Way and connects over to 33rd. So if you know where Lowe's is, it goes right across the freeway and connects with 33rd. And it actually provides incredible improvements to the main line by dispersing traffic. And it also helps by providing another way to get to the mall without going through Lynnwood Mall Parkway. This project is in design and in property acquisition. We just need to find the capital money. So we keep going after the federal government opportunities and things of that nature. But we are, as they say, shovel ready. And this project is a really good case. We'll be meeting with the federal transportation people in the next month or so back in DC to figure out how we can make the most competitive application process possible. So this is very active. We just need to find the capital money to build it. This is future 42nd Street. This project is in design. It connects Lynnwood Mall Boulevard up to 194th. It's a small street, but very important because it helps disperse the traffic. If you keep putting traffic on the same street and hoping for a different result, you end up with 164th. Okay, I'm sorry. So this helps disperse traffic off 44th and improves the flow in this general area of the city center because transit's good, transit will help, but we still need to move people around in other ways. Even if even if the cars drive themselves, even if everybody takes an Uber, that's still tires on the pavement. So, dispersing that out and providing more opportunity of circulation is very important. This is Sound Transit. This is probably their plan in the 30% stage. So this is a little bit old, but basically this is 44th and 200th. They have a parking garage here that'll be 2,000 spaces. That's only an increase of 500. That is probably one of the biggest head scratchers that people have. But importantly, this will take about 18,000 boarders a day. Okay, think about that number. And then think about that most stations in Sound Transit take about 6,000 boarders a day. Why is that? It's because everybody from the north is going to come down here and get on this station. So how are they going to accommodate 2,000 parking spaces with those number of boarders? This will be bus central off that high capacity ramp. So we are working with them on street widening, on making the circulation work, on finding ways that they can access this station and have a seamless connection between buses, HOV, and bikes and pedestrians. One interesting thing here is that 50% of the people that come to this transit center come within a mile. So they get in their car, they drive to the transit center, 1 mile. If we can find a way and enhance the connection for pedestrians and bikes, we help get to the problem versus just building more spaces. And then in 2034, when Sound Transit opens to Everett, the pressure on this transit center will diminish because you won't have a lot of people from the north anymore. But of course, at that time, we'll have 30-story buildings. So we'll be in a situation where we'll still need the capacity. We'll still have a high capacity station. It just won't be commuters so much. It'll be people that live and work here that'll be using the station. So I'm going to talk a little bit broader now. I'm going to go into the Regional Growth Center, which is in addition to the City Center. These are private investments that have happened. This is Alderwood mixed use. This is a housing project. So this is Alderwood Mall Parkway here. Sears is right here off the map. This used to be the Alderwood Professional Building. This project is a game changer. First of all, it's 18 stories. Steel concrete construction, nothing like that is in Lynnwood. We have some smaller office buildings, but nothing to this height. It takes 346 units. It is being worked as a project that has the city and the developer work together because this is Beach Road. Beach Road will provide an alternative to Alderwood Mall Parkway. If you want to go to Maple or Ash, the idea here is that you'll be able to easily access Beach Road, ultimately go down to Ash Way and Maple, which is off the screen here, and avoid the mall traffic. So again, dispersing traffic, that's the concept. This project is currently in design. I believe it's got its project design review approval, and it is anticipated to be under construction next year with a 2-year construction period. Alderwood Mall expansion, you've seen the fences up there. This thing is a living thing. There's something new going on there every day. But they are currently working on the development of these 2 buildings here and these 2 buildings here. So the work you see out there has been the reconfiguration of this parking lot and the development of this parking lot and then providing building construction pads. These buildings will be under construction this year. What is under construction as well is Cheesecake Factory. Cheesecake Factory is right up there by P.F. Chang's. That is under construction. That's the steel you see coming out of the ground now. So What is not final is what do they do with the big Sears pad? And we have been working with them regularly on what their future plans are. And actually, we're meeting with them today as well. So that is more to come. So Lynnwood Place, I talk about this because it is really a good example of how the city can facilitate development, and that's mutually beneficial. This is a school district property. The school district seeks to lease this property. I call it the Edmonds School District version of Rainier Square. Okay, Rainier Square, University of Washington owns the core of downtown Seattle. So they are not selling off their land interest here. They're leasing these properties. So the first one was Costco. Costco's in there on a long-term lease. And then the south half here is still being looked at for development. The only reason these properties sit vacant for a while is because they're complex. So they are working with a developer, the school district is, on plans for this property. It calls for mixed-use development with retail and housing. We expect to see something coming in from them this year. But Costco's up and running. The development of Costco helped build 33rd, and this project helped disperse traffic. So again, you know, we got this project in, and that helped with flow down here as well. So we continue to keep after it to make traffic flow. It's not, you won't be driving alone on the road, but keep it so you'll be moving on the road. This is the another school project. This was the former bus barn site. This is the Lowe's MC Theater here. So this is the Lynnwood Mall Boulevard. This site has been in negotiations with a private developer, and ironically, surprisingly to a degree, they want to do housing there. So the school district has entered into a development agreement, and currently they're remediating the soil. So there's, you know, was a bus barn, and therefore there's some contamination. So they're taking care of that. Some projects that have been built. This is the City Center Apartments. This is over on 40th in the City Center. So private investment. This is the City Center Apartments that is across the street from the Convention Center. This is 347 units. This is workforce housing. So this is now complete. And this is the project that you see under construction along Lynnwood Mall Boulevard right here. This is the new Hilton Garden Inn. This is 150 rooms, which is larger than a typical suburban motel. Remember I mentioned Christy Murray. This fits into our tourism program. Per capita, we have more hotel rooms in Lynnwood than any other city in Snohomish County. We get more lodging tax out of our hotel industry than any other jurisdiction in Snohomish County on a per capita basis. Between the convention center and the fact that you can start here to do your regional vacation, we can have regional meetings here, we can have statewide meetings here that are convenient for a dry market. We do quite well. And this is our partnership with the Public Facilities District and SMG, who is the operator, as well as the city's tourism program. So nobody really thinks of Lynnwood as a place where people go, you know, this isn't San Francisco. But you can get to Seattle in 20 minutes. You can get anywhere in the region in 20 minutes. It's perfect. And we see that with the amount of hotel activity that comes. And there's actually another hotel that's proposed of a similar size that we're starting to work with in the initial stages. So we do quite well in visitors. We do quite well in business travelers, and that's because the reason people come here as visitors is because they know what we know, and that is we're convenient, we're accessible, and we're a pretty nice quality place to be. Highway 99, there's a few projects I want to go through here. Some people ask me, why so much auto? Okay, well, people don't realize that, 10 years ago, the automobile industry was about to collapse. And we did a concerted effort to build this niche along Highway 99. One, it creates jobs. This just isn't salesman, or the infamous sales manager. This is the tech jobs, the support jobs, the accounting jobs, all those jobs that go with a dealer. Each one of these dealers has anywhere from 30 to 50 people, and they generate sales tax. So we basically took a corridor which was kind of iffy. I mean, was this going to be a corridor or not for the auto industry? And over the last few years, we made that happen. But before I get there, this is Reserve at Scriber Lake. This is housing on Scriber Lake at about 200. This is how the project had burned, okay, which was a tragedy. But this is now under construction. So Paul's group worked with this developer so they could come in under their old code, so they didn't have to make many renovations. We've certified that everything's structurally sound, that the podium's okay. So this project is now under construction, and the renovation of the hotel directly to the south that was damaged is now under construction as well, as moving forward. Why did it take so long? It wasn't the permit process, it was the insurance folks that had to resolve who was liable. So it's happening, it's going forward, and we're looking forward to getting this senior project completed. This is at Highway 99 at Lynnwood Crossroads. This is Sprouts. This is a organic food market. We are being known for having all the cool groceries. This is starting construction in April that just got through the permit process. This will be the last available pad in Lynnwood Crossroads to be completed. And then Mercedes Sprinter. Lexus used to be located up on Highway South 99 in this little place, and they jumped and built their dealership on the old Rose Motel site. Okay, who remembers the Rose Motel? Okay, all right. So that was one of our historic tourism properties, and that unfortunately went away and made room for Lexus, which then made room for Mercedes, which then created a domino of economic activity. So when Mercedes moved north, they did so well that they needed to get Mercedes Sprinter in. So that is up here by the QFC. And then directly south of that was Northwest Motorsports. So I'm sure you've seen their ads if you're a Mariners fan. But they not only have one location, but they have two locations. Go figure. And then CarMax. This was the old Safeway on 99 at 212. This project took 10 years. We went through 2 cycles of getting this together, and my point in saying that is it just takes a while. And people don't think people think a project happens when the ribbon gets cut, and that's really kind of the celebratory day, but everybody in business and development knows it takes a while. This took 10 years, but this, I think, has helped anchor Highway 99 for that business sector, because people will come here and then they'll go to all the other dealers, and then if they're shopping, they may stop and have lunch. It all works together. I want to talk a little bit about education that I commented on earlier. This is Spruce Elementary, so this is going to be done in phases. The first phase in 2018, I believe. Some of these dates fluctuate because just scheduling of the projects and such. And then this is Lynnwood Elementary, which is coming close to completion. This is on 44th Street. And then this was the set building I mentioned, and this got hung up in the capital budget. Everybody remember hearing the controversy of the capital budget in Olympia, our friends in Olympia? This was the #1 rated project in the capital budget for education facilities, and it had to wait a year or two while they worked out the McCleary decision and all the associated stuff. So we persevered. And then other issues that I want to touch on, these are really kind of quality of life things. This is the community multimodal connectivity. So this spaghetti up here shows how we're basically connecting our primary roads between the cities for pedestrians, between Lynnwood, Edmonds, and Briar, and Mount Lake Terrace. So making those connections. And, you know, it's kind of, if you build it, they will come, you know, if you put in a sidewalk, they will walk. If you complete the interurban trail, they will ride bikes. I mean, it's just kind of like people are willing and able and wanting to do those types of things. So one of the projects we have is 44th Underpass. Honestly, this is an embarrassment if you ever walk that. This is basically mud when it rains here, which it does occasionally. And we're working with WashDOT and grant funding and local funding to improve this walkway for a connection underneath 44th. And then these types of connections build to help serve sound transit for multimodal activity. So it's not just, you know, big projects and stuff like that, it's these quality of life connections. I want to say that this project was also funded in large part by Verdant, which I mentioned before on wellness. South Lynnwood Park, South Lynnwood has some needs. There's a very high level of poverty down there. There's a high level of free or reduced lunch at Cedar Valley, which this school, which this neighborhood served, or which that school serves this neighborhood. It took a while to get there. But it also has great access. It's a great little neighborhood. It's, you know, there's some businesses down there, and there's some housing down there. So we're working on a concerted effort to engage the community and that neighborhood on what they want to see happen for themselves. So it isn't like we're from the government, we're here to help you. It's like, what do you want? And that's really what this meeting's all about. You know, how can we help you? What does the community want for itself? So this is moving forward with an update to South Lynnwood, and then Meadowdale Playfields. I don't know, who had a kid go through soccer? And did you happen to play on these fields when your kid was in soccer? My daughter played here, and she came home, and I couldn't see her within the dust that was consuming her body. So it was either muddy or dusty. You had two choices. This city put together and was the lead on putting together this $5 million project to put in new turf, all-weather fields, and that type of thing. And if you haven't been out there, please go out there. It is wonderful. It is a community amenity, it's a neighborhood amenity, and not surprisingly, it's bringing in people that want to have access to lacrosse fields and soccer fields and baseball fields, and as a result, it's bringing in community tournaments and regional tournaments, which is pushing our tourism industry, and Christy works with them on that. And you know, there was an organization that says we're all in this connected, you know. It's all connected. And if we make our community the best it can be, we will be the draw for people to come to and spend their money and invest in our community because they'll want to be part of it. And that's the path we're on. So with that, I probably ran over. I tend to be long-winded. The mayor has me on a word count, and I typically break that every time I talk. But I think we have a few minutes for questions, Linda. And were there any? I know that's a lot of information. Any questions? Yes.
So as a realtor, I want to know, how is it 20 minutes to see out helping? People can do it. I know my peers are saying that it depends on the time they leave, but it's more like 90 minutes.
If you are not in peak, I mean, I come down the Speedway every day. I see the big sign. So if you're not in peak, you can get to Seattle in the midday, and that's not that arduous. But if you're in peak, or if you're even close to peak, it's a mess. And that is a regional problem. And I don't think this is going to solve it for everybody, but, you know, the fabric of light rail, this train will get people to the University of Washington in 20 minutes and downtown in 30. It'll get them to Bellevue in 20 minutes and Redmond in 30. That connectivity places us well in the region. We're working with folks that want to come to Lynnwood, and they are very much interested in the train. And they're very much interested on where the train goes. And so you're right. if I'm gonna get out there, if I have a downtown meeting, I leave the day before. But if I want to get down there midday or something like that, it's not that bad. And that's important on tourism because people can come here. They don't have to fight the peak because they're not going to a job. And they can get in and out quite conveniently. So either I bored you all or answered all your questions. Yes, sir. Yeah. Well, that is a sound transit policy. They didn't want to be in the garage business. So we are kind of at their mercy a bit on that. It's something we don't control and don't really have a chance to influence. Their objective is to basically eliminate the express bus system south of Lynnwood, so you won't take express buses south of Lynnwood anymore. So everybody on those buses will either will transfer at Lynnwood at the convention center, or at the transit center. They'll come off the highway HOV ramp, they'll get deposited there, and then the buses will start making that same trip. And then local folks, which again comprise a large amount of folks that go through that transit center, finding ways to make it more convenient for them to get there is important. So community transit is going to take the resources that they have in the express bus system and the amount that's now freed up because they're not going to Seattle anymore, and cost, revenue, is going to be put into laterals so they can start connecting the county east-west. And you're seeing that in their BRT system. That's the blue line, which is on Highway 99, and the green line, which comes out of Boeing and goes to Mill Creek. And then in Lynnwood, there'll be an orange line, which goes on 196. And if you think about it, all those lines cross-connect at various areas. And the blue line will actually be able to go down 99 and then go in at 185th into light rail. So they're building a fabric here of transit, and with the goal that if you make it more convenient and make it more accessible, people will use it. And there's both sides to that story. I can understand that. But for me, one, it's a huge economic catalyst, which points out that people want it. And two, what happens there has got to happen for the benefit of Lynnwood, not just for the benefit of commuters from Marysville. And that's why the city's done its city center plan. That's why we put streetscape plans into place. That's why we've done the heavy lift over the last 5 to 10 years of pre-work. And honestly, if it wasn't for the train, accomplishing the city center, I think, would be a much larger, take on a lot longer period of time. I mean, it's a lot of activity, comes across daily. Yes.
I apologize for this. So my business is sort of in that cooperative department. So could you repeat that again for me with the plans onto that? So we're behind with the tobacco.
Oh, you're in the physical therapy?
Yeah, the physical therapy.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Let's see if I can get back to this map here. So, let's see. You're down in here. So, plans for that area are driven by the private sector. So, we have one thing that we're currently working on, and that is figuring out where our park is placed. So, you'll be seeing in the next few months a update of the city center park master plan. And you can give me your card, I'll get you connected to that. And we're trying to figure out the best location to locate a park, which was called for in the city center plan to provide park space that is needed by the number of people that is proposed. It's, again, all connected together. So it's about 2.5 acres we're looking at acquiring. We don't have a site. We're just in the process of putting together, the variables and the opportunities and constraints, that type of thing, on where a park may be located. Originally on the plan, it shows it on the property that you, I think, acquired, but occupy. But that's really now being all thought through. So, best I can say is more to come.
So how does that work when you guys do decide? What do you do with the existing businesses that business, one building, how does that work? Do you get lead time, 5 years, purchase, how does that work?
Well, every project's different and every motivation is different. So it's an individual negotiation and discussion. And then it's further complicated by the source of funds. Okay, so Washington is very limited on the amount of relocation assistance we can provide because we have a very bright line between public and private. But if we start co-mingling federal dollars, it gets more flexible in the amount of assistance we can provide. And so basically there's a property negotiation that happens. That property negotiation there's a fork in the road. You can come to agreement, but if we can't come to agreement, and the city really needs it, we can acquire it through condemnation. That's a terrible word.
So it's
Eminent domain, yeah. Our council has shown a reluctance to go down that path. And then once you do that and acquire it, then you're dealing with leases, and so you have to work through all those issues. And then there's the actual relocation of the business. So that can be involved and complicated. Well, this is a 10-year plan, so yeah, there'll be ample lead time because these things take a while. And one of the reasons they take a while is because we have to respect the transaction of the real estate and the relocation of the businesses. Now that's different in every situation, as I mentioned. And a different situation is your neighbor on the other side of 44th. I mean, that is privately owned piece of property. It's 20 acres of land, and they have their own constraints. And in the private sector, that basically means that they're bound by their real estate contracts. And so it's a whole different world. In government, when we do something, it's much more involved. Okay? That's fine. One more? Well, there's got to be one more question. Okay, I'm a Capricorn. Anyway, cards are here. Go on our website. You can look at that and find us. If you have any questions, please call. You can call me directly. My number's on my line, or you can call into the Economic Development Office. We have a voicemail that we take names in a positive way. And we'll get back to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. You get to draw the names because you're like the man of the hour here. So it wouldn't be a chamber meeting without door prizes. So I want to thank First Interstate Bank for providing several. And where is she? I think Brad went around and collected all those. Brad Poirier, BCC directory. I don't know where he is, but I think he's done. Oh, he's waiting. He's sort of waiting. Go ahead, just wave. We want to know who you are. So let's give out some prizes.
Well, before today, I don't know if you know this, but today is the National Day of Animal Crackers. So we thought that we would put some animal crackers in the middle of your table there. Please feel welcome to pick up the center table, and in your chair you're going to have a little sticky that says either sign here or notarize here on the side of your chair. On this side, did anybody find it? Good. Okay, good. Please take it for your kids or for your grandkids, and there's a nice pen too. Okay, so the first prize, I'll bring it. I'll bring it, okay.
Okay.
Working together.
Yeah. Here we go. Are we set? Let's find out what we have here. I know we're at the commercial drops off the door prize. Thank you for doing that. We welcome door prizes at any meeting, so just so you know.
Okay, sorry, I took the microphone with me.
That's all right, I can hold it.
So this is for David. So the first one is a very nice mug, coffee mug.
Oh. See, being short, you don't have to hold it very high. Alex, Brown and Brown Insurance. Congratulations, Alex. And what do we have here? It does. A lunch bag from First Interstate Bank, and you're not going to lose that because I love that color. Okay, you get that. But can you read without glasses? Oh, hey, Michael Hudson. Hudson Commercial Issue. There we go. See, this is why you come to chamber meetings. This is great. Ooh, another tumbler. I only have 2 hands. I'm going to have to rely on you. Oh, I'm good now. I just can't take the tumbler. Impact Physical Therapy. I knew that was you. And thank you for asking questions. Natalie Bradley Commercial Real Estate. Oh, look at that. Oh, this looks nice. A planner, a calendar. And it is going to John, First Interstate Bank. Where are you, John? Yay, go you! He probably already has a lunch bag anyway. And we have another lunch bag? Okay, all insulated. Oh. And we have Wells Fargo Advisors. Which one are you? It's Scott. Oh, Scott, you know your card's full. Scott Kelly. I want to thank all of you for coming. I want to thank all of you for being involved in the business community. Again, if you have any questions about the chamber, I'm going to be here to answer questions. My cards are on the table if you want to give me a call. Thank you to the city. Thank you, Mayor, for being here. Thank you, David, for telling us all that's going on. We'll see you all soon.